Hi fairies, welcome or welcome back to my channel. My name is Fifi. It's so nice to have you here. I hope you stay well. Today we are going to be doing our Q3 reading wrap up, talking about the books that I read from July to September. Okay, so July, August, September, and I usually go ahead and just list and talk about every single book that I read during this time period. But honestly, I read some really bad and mid books, and I don't have the energy to talk about all of them. So we're going to be taking a different route this time. I'm going to be following some questions. Okay, I got these questions from this other booktuber that I really love called Lily Grace, and this is how she does her own wrap ups. So I'm going to be trying that this time around and just answering some questions about the books that I read in Q3. So let's just get right into it. The first question: how many books have you read so far this year? I have read way more than this now, but by the end of September, I had read 84 books. What is your most read genre? My most read genre, surprisingly, is romance, and I think this is because a lot of books that I read have at least a romantic subplot. I don't necessarily read that many romance books. I mean, I've been trying to read more because I do want to find a romance book that I actually really like. That has not happened yet, unfortunately. But yeah, apparently my most read genre, according to Fable, is romance. When it comes to my personal favorite genre right now, it's actually like fiction, mostly historical fiction, to be honest. That's where my head is at. I haven't really been loving contemporary romance at all, and I have been reading fantasy, but I'm not loving it. Like, it's all just reading a little bit too similar, and it's like, okay, what is your average rating? By the end of September, my average rating was 3.8, which is very interesting. I don't know how to feel about that. I do wish that my rating was higher, but because I have been trying to read a little bit more out of my comfort zone and just trying a number of different types and genres of books, I have not been reading, great books or books that I personally would consider really good. So that's why my rating isn't as high as I would like, but it's not even that low. 3.8, that's like a pretty good average rating, I guess I would say. Who is your most read author? By the end of September, my most read author was Enid Blyton. I had read 12 books. I have now read even more books by her, which is insane. She has like over 200 books, if I'm not mistaken, and I've just really been loving these two series, the Saint Clair series and the Mallory Tower series. I just love her books. They are obviously middle grade, mostly for children, but because they're so nostalgic to me, that's what I used to read when I was much younger. And I honestly think the plot and the story writing, the characters are so good even for adults. It just feels like a safe space for me. Her writing and her books and her world just seem so cozy, comfy, and safe. Anytime I'm having like a bad week or I'm just feeling not that great, I just put on an audiobook by her, and it's like, exactly. And the audiobook narrators are always so good, so it's like an added bonus for me. So yeah. What type of reader are you? I mean, according to Fable, I am an enchanted adventurer. Your reading nook is filled with magical worlds, complex relationships, and epic tales. Your adventurous spirit shines brighter than any reading lamp, guided by your dynamic imagination. I guess that makes sense because I do read a number of books that I would say are very creative and imaginatively complex, and mostly filled with adventure. And I also like cozy fantasy books or historical fiction books with like fantastical elements are some of my favorite things ever. It's just a very nice mix I think I have going on, and I appreciate that a lot. What genre do you want to read more of? I would like to read more fiction, honestly, more literary fiction. That's just where my head is at right now. I just love fiction, mostly historical fiction, but I want to read more of a broader, type of fiction, books that have more to do with the human experience and human connection rather than, overly fantastical things. Okay, I don't really care for any other genres right now, to be honest. Top 5 books of Q3, I think at number 1 it would have to be Eels by Vera Nazarian. This is like a dystopian sci-fi fantasy fiction novel. It's so interesting and crazy because the earth is basically about to be destroyed, and the rich people obviously are going to have their spaceships and are going to be able to leave and evacuate before that happens, and they need people that are going to like entertain them, cater to them, work for them, pleasure them. And obviously it's the poorer people that basically have to fight their way into getting a space on all these spaceships. Okay, so we have poor people and people that are of the lower class basically enduring these battles and duels and so many different trial type situations to be able to secure a spot on at least one spaceship. Our female main character is obviously very poor. She has a very poor background, poor family, and she has been fired from this job and she makes her way into a very rich household. And obviously we have the male main character who is a son of this rich household, and I'm sure you can guess what happens, but it's just so much more complex than all that. And I love the writing so much. I love how humor was incorporated into it. I love the characters and the storytelling and the world. It was just so fascinating to me and I enjoyed it so much. At the time I gave it 4.75 stars. I think it's more like a 4.5, but I was just so excited. The second book would have to be The Way of All Flesh by Ambrose Parry. This is a historical fiction, but also a bit of a mystery because we are trying to figure out who is killing some sex workers. It's set in like the 1800s in Edinburgh, in England. It just talks a lot about how, women were not taken seriously at all back then. Okay, we were not allowed to study medicine, but then enough studying was not done when it comes to women's health back then, and we see a lot of that incorporated in this book, and I just love this so much. This is actually written by two authors, okay, a married couple, and I love how you can tell they both had their specific areas of expertise and they incorporated that into the book. So yeah, this is actually a series apparently, and I'm not sure I will continue the series because I'm like, what more do you have to say? I feel like the book ended up well enough, but I do want to see, maybe it's a different set of characters and just where the story goes, because it's like 5 books in this series and I'm just like, that's interesting. The next book on my top 5 would have to be The Thursday Murder Club by Richard Osman. I love this book so much. This was actually a reread for me because the movie was coming out. I actually read it in this video. You can go check that out if you'd like. But we are just following these 4 old ass people in this retirement estates, I guess, that are basically solving murders. I love the writing, I love the obvious British humor, and I just loved how emotional and complex and layered all of it was. You end up falling in love with all these characters and feeling bad for the victims, but also feeling bad for some of the people that did perpetrate some of these things. Bad things. It's very complex, it's very nuanced, and I just love books that are nuanced in nature and have you basically going back and forth on your actual feelings. Generally though, I enjoyed it. Like I said, I read it because the movie was coming out and I have watched the movie by now. I did not love it. I hated how they basically just changed the most important parts of the book. They took away the heart of the book and what made the book just what it was for me. So it was really upsetting. I feel like it was such a waste of a great cast of characters, and yeah, it was just unfortunate, to be honest. The next book on my top 5, Crown of the Dunes. I have forgotten the author's name, but obviously it will be on the screen. I love this book so much. It's the second book in what seems to be a series. At first I thought it was going to be a duology, but apparently not. Okay, it's going to be a series, and this was just a step up from the first one. I think I gave the first book 3.75 and I gave this one 4 stars, or maybe 4.25. It was just so good. I'm not sure if it's a trilogy or a more expanded series, but I'm just very excited to proceed. The final book on my top 5 of Q3, I would have to say, is Little Fires Everywhere by Celeste NG. This was actually the final book I read in September, and I just love this so much. It's a fiction, a historical fiction, if you will, but not really. We basically have the situation where a woman and her daughter have come to this very small, weird, underpopulated town where things are just intertwined. Everybody knows everybody knows everybody's business, and yeah, she basically rents a house from this particular family, and it turns out that this family is friends with another family that have adopted a Chinese baby. Basically, we just dissect each of these families, and of course we get a lot of discourse about what it means to adopt a person of color as a white person. We see a lot of nuance, but also it's like, is it really nuance? We all know people of color should be around people of color. Okay, they should never be in a situation where they are not incorporated into their culture enough. But it was just so nuanced, to be honest. I think I could see both sides, and I could see all sides because there were a lot of different elements to this story. And I just wish that we'd have gotten more insight at the end and more about the characters, where they ended up. After finishing it, I looked it up and I thought that there would be a sequel. Apparently there's not one, so I'm just like, oh, I wish we would have gotten more, information about where our characters ended up. But yeah, I just love this so much. I give it 4 stars. I thought it was a very brilliant read and beautiful, not complex with the writing, not flowery by any means, but somewhat lyrical and simplistic in a way that is quite intentional. So yeah, what was your most disappointing read of Q3? That would have to go to Normal People by Sally Rooney. I have heard only great things about this book. Everybody that reads it loves it, raves about it, talks about how amazing the writing is. I also heard some people not really like the fact that she doesn't have, quotation marks when people are having dialogue. When people talk bad about this book, that's literally one of the only things that they say. And that wasn't even my main problem with this book. My main problem with this book was how bad the writing in itself was. Like, why is it Wattpad-esque without the essence of Wattpad? It was trying to be this literary masterpiece, and it was just giving Jersey millennial banter, I guess I would say, and everything was so toxic. The characters toxic as hell and so annoying, so infuriating. The story was just all over the place, up and down, and repetitive as hell. I just did not like it. Okay, it was very, very upsetting. While I was reading it, I was like, oh my god, can this book just come to a close already? I am truly over this. And I was like, in the first few chapters, like, it was just so bad in my opinion. I don't see the hype whatsoever. I feel like people have just been lying to me. They have. I also just don't like Sarioni's writing style whatsoever. In my opinion, it's not good. It's not good. I actually give this book 2 stars, and that was me being lenient. Who is an author you would like to read in Q4? I say this all the time, but I would love to read the Ishwab. I would love to read Emil Wang. I started an Emil Wang book and I DNF'd it. That was Theonite. I do think I might go back to it, but I wasn't really fucking with it at the time. But I do want to check out more of her books because apparently they are so good from what I've heard. I also want to read R.F. Kwong. I want to read more Brandon Sanderson. I've only read one of his books, Stress of the Emerald Sea. I love that book. I gave it 5 stars, and I just love his writing style, at least in that book. But I want to see what more he has to offer. 3 books I would like to read in Q4. It's literally already November, so I've read some of the books that I wanted to read at the beginning of Q4. But I would like to read If It Makes You Happy by Julie Olivia. This is a romance book, and I know I've been shitting on romance books this whole video, but I have heard such great things. I don't think I've ever really heard the amount of things that I have heard about this book for any other romance book, and even people that I did not expect to like this book actually rave about it, and I'm just very intrigued. I think it's going to be at least good. I don't think it's going to be the best thing ever to me. I don't think any romance book can be the best thing ever to me personally. But I think it will be a step up from most of the romance books that I have read in the past year. So I'm very excited actually. I just love the cover. I think it's so beautiful. I would also like to read Atmosphere by Taylor Jenkins Reid. I have read only one TJR book, which was Daisy Jones and the Six. I loved it. I gave it 5 stars. So I know that I like her writing. I just haven't gotten to it, but I would like to read this one because again, people are just raving about this one and I want to see what the fuss is about. The third book I would really like to read in Q4 is Wild Reverence by Rebecca Ross. This is the prequel book to the Divine Rivals duology. I read the Divine Rivals duology earlier this year and I gave the first book 5 stars. I gave the second one 4 stars. It just wasn't as good as the first one, but I'm so excited for this prequel book because apparently it's so good. According to literally everybody, it's amazing, okay, and I've heard it's so enchanting. Obviously I know that Rebecca Ross's writing is so beautiful, so mystical and enchanting and flowery and beautiful, and I just cannot wait. Honestly, I think it's going to be perfect winter Christmas type read. So yeah, that's about it for me, my little reading wrap up for the months July, August, and September. Let me know if you've read any of the books that I spoke about in this video, if you would like to read any of them. Also talk to me about the books that you read in Q3 and books you would like to read in Q4, even if we are quite a little bit or quite a lot into it by now. But yeah, just talk to me down below. I love reading and replying comments. It's one of my favorite pastimes. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and also follow me on Instagram if you want to be book besties or just besties in general. I would really love and appreciate that. But for now, I will see you guys in my next video. Bye!